Hi, in this video we'll be looking at configuring a card management system for load balancing. Load balancing requires peer servers so we can distribute the load between several servers. So in this example I'll be adding two CMS servers to a pool, so multiple instances of more than one CMS server will be referred to as a server pool. So I've already got my environment set up and running. So I currently have a domain controller with Active Directory services, certificate authority, database installed on the same server, SQL 2005. I've also got two Windows 2003 servers on which I will be installing the first and the second instance of CMS. I've also copied the CMS installation files from the CMS 4.2 installation CD to both these servers. Before installation, we will have to go through the following. I will be going over them later in this video, but here's a brief. So we will have to add the CMS pool name to the host file on both the servers. We will be generating the server certificate, which will contain the subject name as the server pool name. The client certificate will also be generated, which will be used to log on to the operator portal. Two peer CMS certificates, which will be used to communicate between the two peer servers, and the root server certificate. Finally, we will be installing CMS, and in the operator portal I will be configuring the CMS peer servers. So here we go. Okay, now that I've given you an introduction of what we'll be doing in this video, I'll be creating the server certificate, the client certificate, CMS peer certificates, as well as adding the CMS pool name to the host file on each of the CMS servers. So I've already established an RDP session to the domain controller. From here I've got an RDP session to the primary CMS server. So I go to the Windows System 32 drivers etc folder, and here I edit the host file, and as you can see I've already added the CMS pool name to the host file. So it has to resolve to the IP address of that specific server. So in this case the IP address of CMS server A is 192.168.6.45. So once you've made the changes, save the file, and you'll have to do the same on CMS server B. So on CMS server B, go to the etc folder under System 32, open the host file using a text editor, and I've got the IP and the CMS pool name added to the host file here. Save the file once you've made the changes, and you can come out of that session. Now we'll be issuing the server certificate, and please ensure that the server certificate subject field has the pool name that you just defined in the etc host file. So I've already got the certificate authority services running on the server. So I'm logging into the web enrollment service. Click on request a certificate, click on advanced certificate request, then click on create and submit a request to the CA. Now select the template, and as I said, the subject should contain the CMS pool name that you're going to later use for this specific CMS pool. In my case it will be CMS pool dot support pool.com, and make sure the option mark keys as exportable is selected, because we will need the private key, and give it a friendly name if you feel necessary. Then click on submit. Okay, now the certificate is issued. You can install it from this window, and the certificate is installed. Now you've got to export the certificate with its private key. So here's the best way to do it. Since you're already in an Internet Explorer window, go to Tools, Internet Options, Content, then Certificates, and here we can see the certificate that we just issued. Click on Export, select the option S, export the private key, and select the option Include all certificates in the certification path if possible. Give it a password. Please make a note of the password because we will need this while installing CMS. I'm going to call this certificate server.pfx. Okay, we've got the server certificate. Now we've got to issue the client certificate. So click on Home. Click on Request a Certificate. Click on Advanced Certificate Request, and then on Create and Submit a Request to the CA. This time I'm going to use the Administrator Certificate template. Because this is a client certificate that I'll be using to log on to the operator portal, and make sure marquee is exportable is selected. You can give the certificate a friendly name. Click on Submit, click on Yes, and install the certificate. I'm going to save it in the same location, and I'm going to call the certificate client.pfx. Save the certificate, and you can click on Close. Now for the CMS peer certificates, we've got to create two operators in the domain, which I'm going to do now. To create two new users, call them operator A and the second user is going to be called operator B. Okay, I'm going to close the existing session to the certificate server and open a new session so I can log on as the operator users that I just created. Okay, to go through the same process, click on create a certificate request, advanced certificate request, create and submit a request to the CA. This time I'm going to use the user template. Please ensure you have the option marquees as exportable, and give the certificate a friendly name. In this case it will be operator A. Click on submit. Install the certificate to the store. Export the certificate with the private key. I'm going to save it in the same location, and I'm going to call this certificate operator A.pfx. I'm going to close this session and now log on as operator B. Install the certificate and export operator B certificate with the private. Okay, now we've issued the server certificate, the client certificate, and as well as the CMS peer certificates. Remember, we will also need the root server certificates, and the best way to get it would be from an existing certificate. So this certificate, as you can see, was issued by certificate authority, which will be the root server. And now you can click on view, go to certification path, select the root CA, click on view certificate, and as you can see, the certificate was issued by the root server. And you can copy this, select the base64 encoded format, and save it to the same location, and I'm going to call this root.cer. Okay, now that we have all the certificates, we can copy these certificates to the CMS servers.